Today's question for our first selectman comes from Hendrick. And he says, ever since the stream running through Tilley Pond has been stopped, he says, due to construction work on the other side of the railroad tracks, the pond has become a collecting space for all kinds of filth, dead branches, and garbage that people have discarded. All this is creating an undesirable smell, not to mention the poor condition of the water. He said the garbage has collected primarily at the corners of the pond, and it takes away from the allure of the pond and cannot be good for the fish or turtles in the water, and not very attractive for children either. While the construction keeps going on, can an effort be made to keep the pond clean to extend the enjoyment as much as possible?
So I've heard this question a few times. I've been down to both Tilley Pond as well as the pond that's over, excuse me, at Cherry Lawn Park. Those two ponds have got separate problems, but you're right. The muck that's in those ponds is not acceptable. It's algae, it's duckweed over at Cherry Lawn, and I've seen trash, branches, leaves, paper cups, kind of all of that. And that's not great. So we've had several conversations internally, and even just today, our new director of Parks and Recreation, that she's very aware of that. And a couple of things I would say. One is that the big problem in both those ponds is biology. And what's happened is that anytime you've got standing water like that, where the aeration is not great, it can lead, lead to the formation of algae or promote the growth of things like duckweed that really just contaminate the experience. In the past, we've actually been able to control that, and I'm not quite sure why some of those control programs ended or were reduced. But Jennifer Fava, who's our new director of Parks and Rec, she's on top of this. We are awaiting some state permits to do that, because it does require coming in with some chemicals to treat the water, perfectly safe, but they want to make sure they do that right and consistent with the state's environmental regulations. But give us a couple turns of the crank to get this done. I think once the permits are in, you'll see a big improvement in both those bodies of water. And my request of Parks and Rec is that we get back to regular order, if you will, so that those are both nice, clean on the surface bodies of water for people to look at and enjoy, but not acceptable in their current form and status. And we are working to change that. So stay tuned, more to come.
Thank you, John. If you have a question for the first selectman, just send it along. You can use your name or ask the question anonymously. Email your questions to DarianTV79@gmail.com. And you've just seen another edition of Ask the First Selectman.